to record this now. Make a recording available. Okay, so the way it's going to be is Dr. Brennan is going to talk a little bit about this type of detox, the pitta detox, and then Dr. Rajvinder, and he's going to also talk about what the requirements are to do it, and then Dr. Rajvinder is going to give us more details about the support and what's going to be going on in the detox. So Don, I think we'll get started because let's see how many people we've got on. We've 142 on, so yeah, we might get a few more. What time is it? 19:31. I think we can probably fire ahead, Don, if you're happy to go ahead.
Great, Noel. I share screen.
Hey, Rumina's son is there.
What's that?
Rumina's son was waving at us.
Oh, Rumina's son.
He's gone.
So,
maybe I haven't given permission to share screen. Hang on a second, Don. Okay, Don, you should be able to share screen now.
right, okay. Funny. Can you see this, Noah?
No, I can just see you.
Let's see. Share screen. Okay, got it.
Something's happening now.
Yeah.
Okay, you're on, Don. Yeah, you're shared.
Very good. So we're talking about the 12-day guided autumn detox. And so I would just want to take you through it in terms of the whole understanding behind this detox from an Ayurveda point of view. So you understand what it's all about. And then I'll hand over to Rajvinder, who will take you through the actual detox process, what you're going to be doing on what days and what preparations you'll be using, and how we will be there to guide you along. So just to see our way forward, what we're going to be talking about is the Ayurvedic concepts of Agnis, Shrotas, and Datis. Agnis are our digestion and metabolism. Shrotas are the very fine channels that things travel through in the body, and the Datis are our tissues. So we want to just refresh a little bit of that information for you. Then we move on to talk about one particular tissue, which has made us the fatty metabolism, fatty tissues. And we want to mention in a little bit more detail about ama, or toxins, and the different types of toxins that gather in our body, ama, amavisha, and garbhavisha, as Ayurveda describes it. So you recognize what toxins it is that our treatments are aimed at clearing. After that, we'll talk a little bit about Panchakarma, just to mention it, and the specific Panchakarma or detox treatment that we're going to guide you through over the 12 days. In fact, there are 3 stages to this included in the 12 days. They're the 3 stages that we would have normally for any Panchakarma treatment. We will also talk about Rasayana, or tonics, or rejuvenation, because it's part of the process and our purpose with this detox. Then, as Noel pointed out, I'll be talking about who may do this detox and who may not do it. And so we'll go through the people that we would say should not definitely do it. Of course, those who are consulting with us can also double check with us by email whether you could do it. And then just why we're doing it at this particular time, come the end of September. And then just a very quick flip through the 12-day program, really handing over to Rajvinder for more of that. Okay, so that's a look at our way forward, the underlying theory behind it, the concepts of Panchakarma and Rasayana, and then who's going to be invited and recommended for the treatments and who not. Okay, and of course we start with the most fundamental aspect of Ayurveda, which is the Agni, the fire, the fire of our digestion and our metabolism. And so this fire is the essence of our good health. When it works well, we have ojas, which is that which rejuvenates and gives us immunity and strength and vitality and mind-body integration and clarity and courage. And if Agni is not working so well, then we get the various forms of ama or toxins that start to gather in our system. So Agni is very, very significant. It's our digestion and metabolism. It takes the foods that we eat, that we consume, and in our gut processes these foods into nutrients that are absorbed. And then the nutrients absorbed are further worked on by Agnis, initially in the liver and then in our very cells. And so the Agni is not only the digestive tract, but it's also beyond that, the metabolism inside our systems that creates our structure and that governs the functions in our cells and tissues. And it is by virtue of this Agni that our body is constantly renewing itself, constantly cleansing, constantly rebuilding. It's all part of the functions of Agni, digestive fire. And we could go into more detail and talk about 13 Agnis. But the main point here, I suppose, is to recognize that number one is Jataragni. Number one is the main fire, which is in your stomach and intestines, which takes the food and digests. But not just that. That Agni is what lights the fires of all the other Agnis. That gut fire is very, very important for your whole metabolisms. And of course, medicine is coming to begin to understand what Ayurveda means by this, by virtue of the research done on the bacteria flora and its significance in terms of our immune system, our reproductive system, our hormonal system, our nervous system. So yes, Jataragni, very powerful, very important, therefore, that we take care of this, that we prepare for any detox by strengthening this particular fire, and through strengthening this fire, strengthening our metabolism so that we can better detox, which is why you'll see during the 12 days, there's great emphasis on minding your digestion, on eating lightly, on having appropriate herbs and spices to keep your digestion and therefore your metabolism very lively, so that it will be efficient at doing the detox when we come to clear out with the Virechana Panchakarma that we'll be using. And so the Agnis are in the liver and they're in the 7 tissues, and the 7 tissues really are they're very fundamental elements of the tissues really, rather than 7 tissues. But the first one is rasa. So we create this nutrient fluid which nourishes all our cells, and this is the source of our energy. And the finest essence of the rasa that's produced will be moved on to be transformed to nourish our blood tissues. And when all the nutrients have undergone that processing, they're further shifted along the finest essence of them to develop, to nourish our muscle tissue. And then the muscle metabolism, when it's finished with the nutrients that have not been used for muscle, they're shifted on to nourish fat. And the fat tissues are very fundamental, because I want to come back and talk to them a little bit more in a minute. And then when the fat metabolism has worked, then the nutrients go on to nourish bones. The bony metabolism transforms into bones, and the excess is the finest essence of what's left is sent on for nourishing our nervous system and our immune system. The Maja metabolism at that level is now creating a good nervous system for the whole neuroplasticity, for all your brain cells and for your immune system. And we want to keep that one strong at this time of pandemic. And then you have one further step where the nutrients are finally going to nourish the reproductive elements, where cells are dividing and reproducing, dividing, reproducing. Okay, so it's like a 7-step process. There's also the concept of shrotas, because the fine nutrients are moving along channels. So there are innumerable channels, little fine ducts or ways in which the nutrients are moving. And it's not just that it's nutrients, but it's also information moving from tissue to tissue and throughout the body in these very, very fine channels. Now, these fine channels are very significant and important, because if we start to create toxins or ama, as Ayurveda describes it, it's then that these little channels can get blocked. And that blockage, of course, is going to upset and prevent the whole nourishment and the whole processes of metabolism in the cells and tissues. So we don't want blocked shrotas. We don't want our channels blocked. And really, this is where the Panchakarma comes in to clear our channels, so that the nutrients and information can move along and nourish deeper and deeper levels of our physiology. So again, the same thing here, where the nutrients from our gut are absorbed, and having been processed in the liver, they're heading out, and they meet this Rasa Agni, this fire metabolism, to create, first of all, the nutrient fluid, and then the finest essence going on to create, nourish the blood tissues, the finest essence from this metabolism, creating muscle cells, the finest essence moving on to medas. Now you see medas here. Medas is the fourth along the line. And what's interesting about medas is that it's, going the wrong way, sorry. Medas is the middle, it's in the middle. And in Ayurveda, the first 4 tissues, Rasa, Rakta, Mamsa, Medas, they're sort of superficial. They're on the surface, really. So what tends to happen here is that because the finest essence at every step is moved along, if we start to gather toxins, well, they initially gather in Rasa, and over a long time, it may take up to 2 years before the rasa is so disrupted that the toxins shift straight to Rakta, 4 years more before they shift straight to Mamsa, 8 years more before they go to Medas, and 16 years here before they would shift on. So in that sense, if you're a 20-year-old having been spoiled silly by your mother for the first 20 years of your life, you come into your 20s in fantastic health. And of course, it depends how you live and how you behave and how you eat and how stressed you are and all of that. If you're living the good life Ayurvedically, you just constantly create a really fine nourishment all the way along, which constantly nourishes even into the deepest tissues. But if you're very naughty and you take things for granted and you party hard and work too hard, and the toxins build up 2 and then 4 more years, that's 6 years, and then 8 more years, that's 14 years, and 16 more years, that's 30 years. When you're 50, problems start, because the nourishment, if it's disrupted, starts to affect bone tissue, and osteoporosis may begin at this time. Though the toxins can be held up here for another 16 years at least, then in the mid 60s, perhaps the nerve tissue start to be affected, and now memory and what may start to be affected. And it can be held here for a long time before eventually the reproductive elements in the body disrupted. And if we can't reproduce ourselves, we're dead. So we would like to keep to the good life so that we keep the whole thing functioning very clearly. Now, coming back to Medas, it's very interesting, Medas, because Medas is where our toxins can most easily gather. And that's true because the body is trying to protect the further along tissues. Like bones are pretty important, and especially the immune system and the nervous system and the whole reproductive capacity in our cells. And this has to be protected. So the toxins tend to gather in Medas. But when we think of it from a logical point of view, we have water-soluble toxins and fat-soluble toxins in our body. And the water-soluble toxins, you can pee and perspire. Not a great deal of difficulty to get rid of them. Fat-soluble toxins are very hard for the body to process. They have to be processed by the liver, and it's a difficult stage, so it's only done a little at a time, and the rest of the toxins start to gather in our tissues, fat cells, fat tissues. That's why when people sometimes go on a very heavy diet, very strong diet, they really feel incredibly rough, because suddenly in that dieting, they're releasing a lot of the stored toxins into their system, and they feel headachy and rough. But so that's one aspect of MEDAS. Now, another way to think about this is very interesting. All your cells and all your tissues are made of fat and protein, Now, really good fat, especially when we think of the polyunsaturated fats, they're very flexible. The polyunsaturated fats are really, really interesting because they're very, they're mobile. They can bend this way and that. Whereas, the trans fats that you might eat in processed foods are saturated. They're very rigid. Now, think of your cell, and your cell is made of fat and protein. So the lining of the cell is very malleable. It can move this way and that. And this is incredibly important for how the cell functions, because on the surface of the cell are all these little gateways. These little gateways that allow in certain nutrients and that excrete what the cell wants to clear. And so these little gateways are all depending on that ability of the cell wall to be malleable. Because in twisting this way and that, a gateway can open and nutrients allowed in, twist back and it closes, So then consider what happens with toxins, fatty toxins that get lodged into these cells. You can even think about the free radicals and the damage that's done to the fats, where oxygen molecules grabs a little electron, and the whole nature of the fat's disrupted, and the surface of the cell gets rigid, and the schrotas, the channels, are closed. The channels are blocked. They can't operate. Now comes this incredible and ancient wisdom of Panchakarma, because the Panchakarma is the only real capacity, for us to start clearing them. So when we think about what's going on then from the point of view of the cells, you remember the slide in spring, anybody who saw it? So we see how the fluid is moving down to levels from the top rasa into the blood, to nourish the blood, to nourish the muscle, and then to nourish the fat. And it's here that we're concerned that the fats may start to block up the whole system. So the finer tissues of bone marrow, nervous system, and eventually reproductive system are starved. Coming to Panchakarma, the best way of removing toxins from the body. Now, there are three styles of toxins. There's ama, we've talked about. But when ama gets into the tissues, when the toxins, the crud, the rubbish, starts to really get into these levels of different tissues, they interact with the tissues and become amavisha. So that's another more deeply ingrained toxin, which, if we did a bit of fasting or if we use some digestives, we might clear some superficial ama, but to get rid of the real heavy toxins of amavisha, we need Panchakarma. And the other form of toxins is Garbhavisha, which is the toxins from the environment. The chemicals, the additives, the flavorings in your food, the pollution in the air, the cosmetic petrochemicals you've absorbed through your skin. This is called Vishagarbha, which is another form of toxins. But this is why Panchakarma is so significant, because it's very hard for the body to clear all of those toxins. But in Panchakarma, this is what it's about. It uses 3 steps. First of all, we're going to get you all well oiled. Now, in Ireland, to be well oiled has a certain connotation, which we're not interested in these 12 days. because generally to be well oiled in Ireland means to be inebriated. So we don't want you inebriated on the 12 days. In fact, we'd advise that you don't have any alcohol at all on 12 days, please. Because alcohol is disruptive to our ojas, and we want our ojas in place to be more vital in our rejuvenation. So anyway, we want to get well oiled in the sense of taking oils on board by mouth and by massage. We want to use heat. And then we want to use an eliminative treatment. The 5 main Panchakarmas, 5 main Panchakarma means 5 actions. The 5 main ones are ways of getting rid of toxins is through emptying the stomach, vomiting, through purging, through various enemas, and through nasal processes. So these are the Panchakarma treatments, right? So Panchakarma is used in 3 ways. It's used as prevention of disease. So we want to prevent disease. Panchakarma is very useful for that. Why? Because the cause of disease is the disrupted channels through the Amavisha, Garbhavisha, through toxins, obstructing normal functions and getting into the structures, the tissues, and disturbing them. And so we want to prevent that. And that's one function of Panchakarma, is by clearing the toxins to prevent us getting ill. Another function is rejuvenative, because what ages us is when all these channels get blocked and the cells can't operate normally, then they deteriorate. And as they deteriorate, we deteriorate, and we age, and prematurely age even. So we want to rejuvenate. If we need to rejuvenate, we need to clear the blockages to the flow of the information and the nourishment to our cells. And so that's how Panchakarma, in so doing, is rejuvenative. And then the third use of Panchakarma is as a primary disease treatment. In fact, serious disease is the first treatment in Ayurveda for most of the serious disease would be a long course of Panchakarma to clear the underlying causes, and then, you know, the lifestyle, the diet, the herbs could work even better. But what I want to say is, in our 12-day treatments, we are not treating disease. That's not our aim. That's not your aim coming into this 12 days. We want to use it as prevention, and we want to use it as a rejuvenative. And as a rejuvenative, it's combined with a thing called Rasayana. So we do the Panchakarma and the Rasayana. So now let's move on to think about what Panchakarma we're going to do. We're going to do Virechana. And Virechana is a purge. So the 12 days will be very careful in preparing your digestion, your metabolisms, your Agnis, and then we'll be giving you oils by mouth as the days go by. And then when we've got you well oiled, as we were saying, we want to do a heat treatment, a Swedna, a heat treatment, and then you're ripe. The toxins in your tissues have been prepared for removal. Oiling and heating has caused the toxins to be saturated in your tissues with oils, to dissolve them out of your tissues and out of the channels, the shrotas. So now dissolving the toxins out of the channels, the heat opens your circulations. Heat opens the circulation now. So the channels all open, and the dissolving process is far more effective. And the toxins start to move towards the gut. And then we take a purgative treatment, and that causes the liver and the tissues to extract the toxins even more efficiently and deposit them in the gut from where you pass them. So that's the sequence of events in the Panchakarma over the 12 days. And the Virechana is the only Panchakarma really that we can do with you where you're at home and we're keeping an eye on you from a distance. Any of the other Panchakarmas, we would really have to have a total hands-on, you in a facility, everything taken care of, very intense treatments in Panchakarma facilities. With this, Virechana is the only one we can really offer you from a distance. Before the Panchakarma, you'll have 2 or 3 days preparing your digestion. Rajvendra will be going through this with you now. The main treatment then, all through the following 7, 8 days, you will be getting enough rest and not exercising so much, taking it easy, because we want your energies to be within processing and clearing toxins, not wasted being extremely exercised. So you'll also see light diet, and Rajvendra has prepared the nice recipes again for this program. And you will be taking substances to increase your digestive fires, so that, you know, even as you're being oiled, taking oils on board, your Agnis are being strengthened to handle them, to do this process of transformation in your system. And so after the Virechana, then there'll still be, oh, sorry, before the Virechana, you have in the evening before it an oil massage to take more oils on board and a hot bath. And then after, we have just a couple of days that we want to keep an eye on you, so that you still eat lightly and take the extra rest. But now comes the rejuvenative aspect even more, because clearing the toxins is in itself rejuvenative, but it has cleared your channels. And if you now take the herbal preparations that are called Rasayana or tonics, they have much, much more effect. And so Rasayana in Ayurveda is talked about in terms of providing nutrition to cells, tissues, promoting strength, vitality, and health, increasing immunity, preventing disease, promoting youthfulness, excellence of luster, complexion, and voice, a good function of your sensory organs, respectability and brilliance, longevity, good memory and intelligence, improved physical, mental and spiritual qualities. This is from the oldest Ayurvedic text, Charaka, and so that's a quote. So Rasayana then, well, what we're thinking of, these are herbs like ashwagandha, you probably heard of, and shatavari, but the real powerful Rasayanas are the combination preparations. And because this is the end of the Pitta season, you see, we were thinking of Rasayanas for Pitta would be MA1 amla berry, or MA3325 is a nice Rasayana for energy and for Pitta, or the really good Amrit Kalash preparation. It's a good Rasayana. So now, who may do the 12 days, right? Healthy adults of normal weight between the ages of 18 and 60. Do you qualify? Who may not? Generally people over the age of 60, but we'll talk again about that in the next slide. But ladies have to be careful when they're doing this. They can't do this treatment when they're on their period. So if your period falls during these 12 days, better that you postpone and do it after your period. Do the 12 days after your period. You can follow the instructions and if necessary, keep in touch with us if you have questions, but don't do it when you're on your period. Pregnant ladies don't do it, children don't do it, underweight or people suffering from anorexia don't do this treatment, or anyone who's very fragile. You want your strength for this treatment. If you recently had surgery, you don't do it. And then, of course, all to do with the gut, if you have a prolapsed rectum, or if you're bleeding from the bowel or the vagina, or if you have a weak digestion, indigestion, severe constipation, or diarrhea, or a prolapsed anus, or anal fissures, you don't do it. Now, if you have serious disease like heart disease, liver disease, kidney disease, you need a specialist to agree. Your specialist should agree you should do this. People with significant anxieties or depression, we wouldn't put you through this. We'd ask you not to do it if you're severely anxious or depressed. If you're obese, this is not a suitable treatment. If you have a cold or fever, you don't do it. And don't do it if you're doing excess exercise, excess study, or excess sex, for the reasons that you don't have the energy to detox and it won't work. So that's really the no-nos. And that may be helpful to some who are wondering, should they not do it? But if, on the other hand, you're above 60 years old and feel yourself fighting fit and you're keen to do the detox, then you won't need to consult with either Rajvinder or myself. Now, if you've had a consultation with any of us, you can just send us an email and we can advise you whether it's ideal for you to do it or not. But if you've not consulted with any of us, we'd ask that you consider a consultation before you consider doing this, so that we can just be sure, if you're over the 60, that this is over the age of 60, the tissue elements are being lost to us. To some extent, we don't want to speed up that unless someone is quite rejuvenative in that they have the vitality to restore tissues after removing toxins. There's a home pack again that you would be receiving, and Rajvinder will go through the various tablets, powders, spices, the prepared herbal like ghee, castor oil that you'll be using during the treatments. And why do we do it at this time? Because Ayurveda says it's ideal to do a Panchakarma at the change of season. Every time there's a season or some dosha tends to go a bit out of balance, end of the season, we sort it out with little Panchakarma. So now we're at the end of the Pitta season, you're probably noticing. Today is the first day of autumn. But from a Pitta Vata point of view, we're at the change. We're about to go into the change. Next week, probably, we'll see the change for a 2-week period. We're between seasons, as it were, between the Pitta season and the Vata season. It's an ideal time to do Panchakarma, because even the Vata comes up a little bit at the end of the summer. So we'll clear both of them out with this treatment so that we're going into the autumn more balanced, clearer. So the change of the season, that's why we're aiming it for towards the end of September now. And then because also we're approaching the new moon, and that's from the moon cycle, the phase where we naturally clear toxins easier. So that's why we've timed it in September or into October at the failing moon again. So just to make the point again that this is a real powerful approach to reestablishing your own integration of mind, body, and spirit. And it should be done in a serious fashion, devoting the time to do it right with appropriate restfulness, in much more of a restful contemplative phase than being busy and stressed and strained. It wouldn't be appropriate to do a Panchakarma under those circumstances. You should be well rested, taking life easy, living a good routine, eating a good diet, meditating, thinking of your purpose in life and your visions and your goals. That's what we want for this phase of replenishment before the next season. You're going into anyway a season which is much more significant in terms of meditation and restfulness. The autumn we should be taking life easy. So I hope that's given you a sort of a snippet of background on which Rajvinder can now build to lead you through the whole processes of what the 12-day cleanse is going to be about. So I'll hand back to Noel or Rajvinder.
Okay, Don, yeah, if you stop your share. Yeah, Don, thanks a million. That was really, really good. Brilliant explanation of the whole thing, So before I hand over to Rajvinder, I just see some of the questions coming in. So, and these questions in some ways have already been answered, okay? So I just want to make clear what Dr. Brennan said about who can do it between the ages of 18 and 16. And we gave the conditions, like if you have serious illness or heart disease or things like that, then we strongly advise you, well, not that we strongly advise you, but we're saying don't do it under those conditions. Now, someone says, I'm 63, does that rule me out? Dr. Brennan did say for people who are over 60 that feel strong, that, don't have any conditions, have strong digestion and all that, they can have the approval of their Ayurvedic doctor. So if you've had a consultation with Dr. Rajvinder, Dr. Nahid, or Dr. Brennan, if you've done a previous detox with us, then we know you. The doctors know who you are. They have your medical records and they can make a decision. But if you're over 60, you have to have the agreement of an Ayurvedic doctor. Now, if you're new here and you've never had a consultation with an Ayurvedic doctor, then you will need to have a consultation with an Ayurvedic doctor before participating in this detox, okay? Because the doctors have to know, they have to know your strengths, your weaknesses, and see, is this suitable for you or not? But the fact that you're over 60 is not ruling you out, okay? There's an extra layer that you have to go through, and that means just sending an email to your Ayurvedic physician, whether it's Rasvinder or Donna or Nahid, and just say, listen, I'd like to do this detox. You're my Ayurvedic doctor. You've consulted with me. Is it okay if I can go ahead? And they'll say yes or no. And then what you need to do is then, well, I'll know that then the doctors will let me know what has happened there, you know. Now, there was just one or two other questions. How weak does digestion have to be ruled out? Isn't weak digestion part of the problem or not? Well, obviously weak digestion is a big problem, but it may not, doing Panchakarma like this might not be the way to address that weak digestion. But Don, I'll let you answer that question. So how weak would digestion have to be, you know, before someone should rule themselves out?
In that situation, really, the digestion has to be strengthened, because you need the digestion to be strong for Panchakarma. And I wouldn't go ahead with a weak digestion. What I would consider is a consultation to strengthen up the digestion, because it's not appropriate to have poor digestion. You should be working on that constantly to strengthen it up. So if you've had consultation, consult the Ayurvedic doctor you consulted with. If you haven't, you could consider it, because anyway, it could be worked on and maybe it could be strengthened up enough in time for the home treatment, this detox treatment. But we'd have to say, as a general rule, it's not appropriate to do this treatment unless you have a good, strong digestion. And Anvi asked you 63, did that rule you out?
You did. I answered that one, yeah.
You did, yeah.
Oh.
Good.
Okay, so the other, you know, if you feel your digestion is really weak, well, then you should be working on that anyway. I mean, if you've done any of our courses, you know that getting your digestion right is very, very important. So maybe you could work on getting the digestion strong and then do the October, the one on the 15th of October. And obviously things like ginger pickle and all those, there's so many things in Ayurveda to help strengthen your digestion, you know. What happens if you don't have access to a sauna or a bath? We came across this one the last time. Hot shower will do, and maybe hot towels and things like that. But yeah, it's not 100% necessary to have a bath, you know. And if you're currently taking Triphala at night and 3347, can you do well? I mean, lots of people take Triphala at night. That wouldn't rule you out, I don't think, Dr. Brennan, would it?
I think it's a good point needs bringing up. I think when we're doing this 12-day treatment, I would stop the herbals when I start taking the ghee, simply because you're going to only flush them out of you a little while later. There's no point. And you can just take the herbals that are available for those days on the detox. And then 2 days after you finish the castor oil, you can restart your herbals. But taking herbals is no contraindication to doing the Panchakarma.
And then people are asking, how do they get a consultation? You just go to ayurveda.ie. Dr. Brennan and Dr. Nahid can be booked online. Dr. Rajvinder's phone number is on the website there, and you can just ring her. All consultations. Well, I think Dr. Rajvinder is seeing people in person, but Dr. Brennan and Dr. Nahid are doing them over Zoom. So just ayurveda.ie, our website. I would have nearly assumed that everybody on this call has had a consultation at one stage or another, but obviously not. But yeah, just go to ayurveda.ie. So Rajvinder, time is moving on here. Are you with us, Rajvinder? I'll just, maybe you've muted yourself. There we are there. No video either. Hi, Raj.
You have to allow me to share a video. I can. You have stopped it. That's what to say.
Sorry?
You have to allow me to start my video because it's saying the host has stopped it.
Oh, Anna Carey's texting something about that as well. Okay, well, maybe you should be able to remove it now. I'm just looking at.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Anna. It was me that stopped that. That's a security measure. But anyway, there you are, Dr. Rajvinder. So you listened to all of that, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think I need to say much. Dr. Brennan has covered a lot. So, and there is just one question before we go. Maybe we take that. For some vegan people, they are saying ghee and being vegan. What do you want to say, Dr. Rani, on that?
It's ghee that has always been used for this process, because ghee is the only oil that strengthens digestion. There could possibly be, Rachel, a different way of getting some degree of oiling, but I think we would have to communicate, email each other.
Yeah, we have to find an alternate. We have to prepare something special, especially in the herbs that going in the ghee, some medicated ghee, we have to provide separately. Yeah, maybe communicate with one of us. I think, Dr. Brennan, we can.
Yeah, but unless you're sure that it's going to be as effective. I mean, ghee is traditionally used. It's always been traditionally used. So we don't want to do things in half measure. Just, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? You know, it's a traditional thing to use ghee, and that's the way it is. And there's no point in bending it around to produce something that's not going to be, you know, if it's less than 50% effective or less, then it's better off doing some other form of detox, you know. And Jonathan Bell says the sprint detox was less than 12, I'm sure. I fully enjoyed. Is there a reason for the extra days? Jonathan, this is a completely different detox. Completely different detox. And that's the reason for the extra days. It's that.
Well, you hear it first. You will know it is not that bad. I gotta talk about it.
Okay, Raj, I'll let you go ahead.
Okay, so you let me share my screen as well. I'm not gonna bore you with so much information, just very little, but Dr. Brennan's information is very good. Interesting. So here is just a little breakdown why we are saying it for 12 days. Because in the summer, the pitta accumulate, and naturally in the summer, the digestive system slows down. So digestive system tend to accumulate more ama if we were eating too many ice creams or too many chocolates or salads or alcohol. So this is like first 3 days is a resetting, which is you're asked to start eliminating gluten, sugar, dairy products, processed food, meat, eggs, all that from your diet. And the ladies are going to do it for 3 days and the men are going to do it for 2 days. So men start taking the ghee from day 2. So there will be, what you have to do, Dr. Brennan mentioned, in your package, you're going to get a bottle of medicated ghee, and you're going to get a churna, which is a herbal powder. And then you're going to get trifla, and plus there will be castrol. So those are the 4 things, and then a bag of seeds, which you are making tea. So that's the 5 things that's at the part of the detox. And then for cooking, there will be pitta churna. So for first 2 days, you will start the powder, which is avipatika churna. And so avipatika churna is like a combination of 8 different herbs. It's just the people with sluggish digestion that they're talking, the digestion is already not so strong. So these first 3 days is the opportunity as well to boost up your metabolism a little bit and see if you feel better and you're ready to take the ghee by day 4. So day 4 to day 7 is the internal oleation. So now you are given the different dosages. So you start with small dose, and then the dose start going up as the days are progressing. So day 4, day 5, day 6, day 7, 4 days of taking the medicated ghee, which is the ghee is made from bitter herbs. I'll go there later. So it will be slight bitterish. So you have to take that first thing in the morning. So you're going to sip a little warm water and take the dose of the ghee. And then if you don't feel hungry, that ghee is instead of breakfast. So that's what you have to survive on. But if you have a strong metabolism, you feel hungry, you might go for a little breakfast. And then day 8 is a Svedana. Svedana is like a steaming. So if you don't have bath, you go with the hot shower. Some people have sauna, some people have the heating blanket and all that. Whatever facility you have, you do it. The point is you sweat, because when you're taking the medicated ghee, the ghee start going to the deeper tissues. And with the Svedana, with the sweating, it is moved, the toxins, the ama is moved towards your GI tract. And that's what the purpose of steaming is. So steaming is very important on the day 8. On the day 9, you will be advised how much amount of castrol, how much trifla you need to take. So you have like comfortable 4 to 5 bowel movements. If you have more than that, that's okay. Stay in touch with us over the WhatsApp and all. So we will be able to guide you what to do to stop if you're getting too many loose bowel movements and all that. But do expect at least 4 to 5 good bowel movements, because that's what all the ama is getting out of your GI tract now. And then day 10 is if you had too many bowel movements, so take it easy. You're going to reset your digestive system slowly. So you still be eating liquid diet, and that's kind of all rejuvenating. And you reflect on the all the 9 days, how were you and how you're feeling. So your emotions, your energy levels, your sleep, everything is a good day to kind of rest and reflect on that. And day 11, day 12, you are slowly back to, you start introducing normal food one by one. So normally for the day 4 to day 10, mostly you're eating liquid food. So day 11, you start going semi-solids and solids. And by day 12 or day 13, you're back to normal and you start taking Rasayanas, which Dr. Brannon was talking about. So that's the plan. So basically, first 3 days are not too much. You just have to get rid of all the bad habits. And then day 4 to day 7, little challenging. Day 8 is fine, no ghee for that day. And day 9 is gonna be maybe a little bit difficult because you have to stay home and you have to stay near the toilet. And then I say the rest of the 3 days you'll fly. So now maybe it doesn't sound that hard and that scary. So only hard part why we are asking people to be careful and all of that, because when you take ghee, sometimes nausea happen and the toxins start moving because the medicated ghee is very good for asthma, rheumatoid arthritis, skin problems. Even this ghee, the research done is great for osteoporosis, rejuvenating bones and all that. So a lot of benefit of these ghees, and it stimulates the liver a lot. So people can get, the pain can get worse. They might get headaches, eczema, psoriasis could flare up a little bit. So that's why it's just like you have to be very kind of strong metabolism so that you can process the AMA properly from your system, and depends on how much AMA is there and all of that. So that's why we are taking extra precaution. So we want to know you, who you are, and what's going on with your system. Okay, so that's the plan. So just a little bit, I just want to talk to get to know the products you will be taking. So this is the Panchatikta Gritam. Pancha means 5 and Tikta means bitter. So these are kind of 5 bitter pungent herbs that's already infused into the ghee. So it's an herbal ancient formulation, and it is prepared from the 5 bitter herbs. And bitter herbs like neem, guruchi. So neem, you know, is a very bitter herb. So it's going to be a bitter one to take first thing in the morning. And it is very much to fight infections from the body, to calm down all the 3 dosha, not only pitta, it's good for vata and kapha as well. It's good to stimulate liver, so all the liver issues, and it purifies the blood. And it is like a very whole medicine for in general health as well, especially under the COVID, all that. This is a great tonic for liver and immunity. And it also a great kind of tonic for skin issues. It's great for all the people dealing with the skin problems. So it's anti-inflammatory, anti-toxins, anti-pruritic, which means itchiness, itchy skin, and all of that is good for that. So the purpose of this ghee is go deeper into the tissues and keeps the organs healthy and the functions of the organs, so the organs function properly. So this concoction is mainly used for diseases of bones, joints, muscles, skin, but in general, it's a very overall tonic, really. So it's to cure inflammation. So great for rheumatoid, osteoarthritis, gout, any kind of bone, joint problem, and any kind of tissue problem and all of that. So I cannot talk enough about this product. It's a brilliant kind of a preparation, and it's a very, very ancient preparation. And this is one of the procedure we are doing. It's like a purva karma, which is this procedure, oleation is done before you actually go into the 5 major Panchakarma, which Dr. Brannon was talking about. When you go and stay in a Ayurveda center, say for example in India, when you arrive there, so first 5 days you're asked to drink this, and they clean your diet and all of that. And after that, the massage and shudara and anema, all that treatment start after this internal oleation, because all the toxins become loose and they are easy to shift. So the next procedure in India depends on the season. If it's the springtime, if the doctors do this preparation on the spring, they ask to vomit. But we are doing this for the summertime. So the summertime, we'll ask to purge virechana, which is easy and is easier than the vomiting. And the vomit is not kind of practiced too much nowadays. So virechana is which is the purge, is the main practice done. So that's what we will be doing. So that's one product that you're taking from day 4 to day 7, and the dose will be different for every day. And the next product that we will provide will be Avipatika Churna. So Avipatika Churna, you can say all these beautiful herbs, which is amla, and there is haritaki, there is nutmeg, there is bay leaf, cloves, that kind of preparation is there. So these are all the pungent and bitter herbs, which are great for pitta problem, pitta metabolism, and pitta digestive issues. For example, heartburn, acid indigestion, all of sluggish metabolism. So Avipatika Churna is there to boost up the metabolism if people have problem with their digestive system. So again, that will be described in your notes, how much to take, and that you will be taking from day 1 to day 12, I think. Yeah, so that will be before lunch. And then there was a question about triphala. Actually, you will be continuing triphala as a part of the detox, so that when people start eating light, sometimes they start getting sluggish and bowel movement is not kind of every day there. So that's why triphala will be there in my bedtime, so that the bowel movement is good. Normally with the Panchatikta Grita constipation doesn't happen, but could be if someone has a very, very sluggish metabolism. So triphala will be there. And then the last procedure, which will be Virechana. So Virechana in the Sanskrit means purging, and it is a very, very effective technique to get rid of all the toxins from the body and pacifying pitta dosha. That's why Virechana is the best practice to calm the pitta in the body. And it is effective in cleansing the small intestine, where a lot of ama can gather, as you can see in the picture. So that's why you will be advised to take castor oil and triphala. The dose will be given in the notes on the day 9. Okay, so that will be the procedure for all of the days. Let me stop sharing the screen. And then you will be given recipes, what you will be eating for those days. So first 3 days, when you are not taking the ghee, you can just eat simple diet, and you can, the recipes like barley, moong khichdi, or moong dal, or vegetables. So the idea is you eliminate your normal diet if you're eating meat, or if you're eating any of the processed food, any of that. And then day 4 to day 9, as already said, mainly will be dal and khichdi and liquid, really. So there is no calorie restriction this time. And so you can eat the amount you want, you hungry, but you have to reflect to your hunger levels, because when the amount of ghee start going up, normally your digestive system start going down. So you may not be very hungry on day 6 and day 7. So maybe you don't want to eat too much. So you have to self-reflect on your hunger. And I will recommend maybe if you can take week off, or especially from day 6 to day 10, if you can take those last 3 or 4 days off and stay home and meditate and rest. Don't try to exert yourself too much. Don't try to do any strong yoga practices or anything like that, because when you take ghee and ama shift from your limbs, from different parts of the bodies towards the gut, you do feel exhausted. So you might be feeling a bit tired around the detox. And if there is any mental, emotional stuff going on, that could start coming on the surface. So you might be doing it with your friend, or someone is there to support you. Anyway, we are there to support you. So just that can happen, because when ama start leaving the surface and the place it has taken in the body, it leaves the vacuum there, and that vacuum has to be filled with something. So I hope that vacuum will be filled with the ojas and the good habits. And as the day 10, you're coming out of the detox, try to maintain the habits, because no more detox in the autumn and in the winter until the springtime. So if you'll be doing the detox in the spring, that'll be easy one. And yeah, most of you, what you can expect from the detox, you feel you are expecting to have more energy, clear skin, and if you're dealing with any of the autoimmune problems, that's very good for the autoimmune. But if you're on strong medication or anything like that, do talk with us. And especially the rheumatoid, I have given the detox to people with rheumatoid and stuff like that. It has good results. And in general, if you have no issues and you're a healthy person, it still is beneficial, because we always have a bit of ama in our body. So how you know you have ama? I think Dr. Browning has touched it a little bit. If the smell is from the body, your tongue has white coating, breath smells, and you feel very bloated after eating food, you feel tired, and your sleep is not so good. So then there is ama in your system. If you are very vibrant, full of energy, sleep is not an issue, no bloating, regular urination, then you are already perfectly healthy. So it's just a little bit to reflect on to if you want to go ahead with the detox. So I think I probably have covered, and probably everybody has a bit of understanding what to expect for those 12 days.
Okay, Rajvinder, that was really good. And just to say, we've organized it so that day 9 and 10. So day 9 is your castor oil day, your Varachana day, and so day 9 is on a Saturday. So it'll start on the 24th, which is a Friday, and then day 9 will be the Saturday, and so the Saturday and the Sunday will definitely be a rest day. You know, I'm just taking a look at my calendar. Yeah, Saturday will be the 2nd of October and the 3rd of October. So people were asking, can you work? And I mean, I've done this treatment before and worked, but as Dr. Rajvinder says, you just try not to take on too much. If you can take some days off, try take them off, like the Wednesday, like the Thursday, the Friday, the Saturday, the Sunday. If you can get 2 days, that would mean you're getting 2 days off work, you know. If you can do that, that would be a great thing to do, and not take on too much for the other days, you know. I think you can hear from the sound of it. Jonathan Bell put in something there. I just noticed a comment he made. He said, that reminds me of Panchakarma that I did in India. There it is there. Yes, definitely more like full Panchakarma then. I was lucky to do that in India in early 2020, an amazing experience. And yes, it is moving more towards full Panchakarma than our spring detox. And full Panchakarma is just done in residence. We wouldn't think about doing full Panchakarma outside of a residential setting, you know. So it is, you know, it's an undertaking for you. I've done this treatment, you know, many times over the years, full-blown Panchakarma over the years, and it's an amazing treatment for maintaining health and vitality. But if you can't give yourself the time, if you're going to be under pressure and rushing and all, you know, working way too hard and taking on way too much, I'd say probably better off just leaving it, you know, until you can get some time to do it properly, you know. And we will provide, for the people who have booked and want to go ahead with it, we've put together a very nice booklet outlining, you know, suggested recipes and giving you all the different things for the different days, a bit like the last detox, you know. So it's a very comprehensive booklet that we'll go through. We will have the WhatsApp group again. So we'll set up the WhatsApp group. There'll only be 100 people on this course. We're limiting the first one to 100 people. So we'll have that WhatsApp group, and we'll have all the support that's there. One thing we will do, though, is at the end of the 12th day, we will shut down the WhatsApp group, because the last time the WhatsApp group went on for, Rajvinder's looking at me there like you want to say something.
No, it's fine.
Yeah, because the last time the WhatsApp group went on for weeks after the detox, and I just it was really a bit too much, you know. So yeah,
we're talking politics.
Yeah, we'll more than likely. Yeah, there was politics coming up on it. Yeah, we'll more than likely shut down the WhatsApp group at that stage, you know. So it's very comprehensive. We'll have the doctors will be looking after you all the way. We do need to get the stuff to people in the post, especially the people who are abroad. I know there's some people from Switzerland. There's one gentleman from Portugal. I've already managed to send Benjamin. I think he's on the call. I've already managed to send out some of his stuff. There's a lady from Czechoslovakia. There may be other people that I missed out that are from abroad. So if you've listened to this and you decided you want to do it, you want to go ahead and you meet the criteria, then tonight or tomorrow, send me an email, noel@ayurveda.ie, with your full address, with your air code and your postal code. Just make it as simple as possible so that nothing can go wrong. And we'll get the packs ready and get them out to you then as soon as possible, you know. So I think there are questions coming in, Don. You've probably been looking at some of them, and maybe we can answer a few questions before we stop.
Great. Amber asks, what's internal oleation? Internal oleation is when we take the ghee by mouth over the 4 or 5 days, so that internally we're getting well oiled. And Kavanagh, will the immune system be weak on the detox and making us susceptible to COVID? If you think about your immune system, it's definitely strengthened, 40% increased by a good night's sleep. It's certainly strengthened by really good nourishment. It actually is strengthened on a lighter diet. So most of the days of the detox are going to leave you stronger because you're going to be living very healthily. But the day of the Varachana, when you're going to the toilet, depending on how often you go, it's between 3 and 10 times people go. If you go 3 times, it hardly touches you. if you go 7 or 8 times, you can feel a little bit washed out. But that day you're staying at home and you're taking a lot of rest. So, if there is any slight dip in your immune system, it'll be more than compensated for by the renewal effect that kicks in the next day and the day after from having cleared the toxins. You'll come out of this with more immunity, against COVID than you go into it. Because remember, the reason that COVID is making people sick is because they have AMA or kapha on board. And we're clearing kapha, we're clearing AMA from our system doing this detox. Jonathan, well, is the TM yoga twice daily? I think if you do that yoga very gently, and it's part of a real process of sublime settling, then I think the good effect of the deeper TM and the gentleness of the postures will make it adequate. But if you're doing anything more than the gentlest stretch, I think listen closely to what Rajwinder has to say.
Yeah, if you feel too tired, TM is fine. It's good to meditate, and you might clear up your nervous system. So that's okay when you feel even tired and you want to rest. You might fall deep sleep during TM, but physical activity is better. And in relation to the immune system, Panchakarma is actually great. While you're taking that, I think immune system will be fine. It's just when the purge is happening, yeah, better take it easy.
Yeah, on the day you purge, you don't go out, you stay in, you don't be meeting anybody. You won't want it anyway. You want to stay very close to the toilet, So Suzanne Fossey says how to book and how much. It's on the website, Suzanne, ayurveda.ie. Go to booking, it's €255 and you can book that. People are asking, will the October one definitely go ahead? I can't say. As I said earlier on, if we get the numbers, we'll do the October one. You can go ahead and book it. It's up on the website. If it doesn't go ahead, we'll refund. We won't do it for 5 or 6 people, but if we get enough numbers, we will do it. So there's 700 people registered for this webinar. There's 217 on. So obviously a lot of people couldn't make it tonight. I'll send them the recording tomorrow. That was another question. We will send a recording, and I would imagine that the October one will go ahead, but I'm not committing the doctors to it at this stage. The September the 24th one is definitely going ahead. We've well over 70 people booked into that at the moment, but the 15th of October, it's up on the website. You can book it, but I can't promise that it'll go ahead,
And the WhatsApp group will be there, Isabel, yes. And if there is something that you don't want to share in the group, you can send the message privately or email us. That's fine as well.
Are the doctors and yourself doing it? No, I'm strongly thinking of doing it. It'll depend on the work I have coming up to then. If I have too big a workload, I won't do it. I would love to do it though. I would love to do it. Dr. Brennan, I'm not sure whether you've thought about it, or maybe you're pretty AMA free anyway.
I'm very much thinking about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the same. Probably be doing it.
Yeah, I know we all did the other one and we all suffered along with you, but yeah, we'll have to see. Do we have access to this webinar again? Yes, Shiv, you will, and good to hear from you. So people who cannot eat dairy cannot do this detox. Yes, I would say they can't because the ghee is involved, but maybe the doctors will come up with something else. But I'd rather they didn't unless they were 100% satisfied that it was going to do a good job, Does the prescription vary according to different doses? Not really, no. It's a pitta detox, Any other questions there, Don?
I think that's where they would need to get in touch with either Rajwinder or myself, with regard to being vegan and not being able to take the ghee. There's the thing could be no Christmas detox. That question comes up. Will this prescription vary according to different doses? Well, obviously we've had to think through this, and on the basis of our years of experience, just put together a program that is pretty generic, so that everyone could do it. So it's not going to vary, except that it's different for men and ladies in terms of the amounts of ghee and castor oil and the days. But other than that difference, the reason for that is that men tend to have stronger Agnis, and so can take more ghee, and they need less preparation. So
and also this is good for Vata because we are taking ghee, which is going to prepare the Vatas for the autumn. because the internal oleation is that's what you're consuming, the ghee, that's giving moisture lubrication to the joints and bones, and the ghee is great for bones and all. So this one is actually good for vata people as well. So the spring one, we were cautious about strong vatas, but this is okay.
But if you're over 80, Ayurveda would be saying that, you know, for that time of life, it's not a time for detoxing, it's a time for Rasayana. Over the age of 80, Amrikalash or other appropriate tonics Rasayana, they're the rejuvenation for the elders. The question as to when it starts on Friday the 24th is the first day of the scheduled treatments. We'll have a Zoom consultation the night before just to prepare everybody. And then that'll be 7:30 on the Thursday night. And we'll have a Zoom consultation on Wednesday, the 29th as well, because that's the point at which people are getting fed up with the ghee. And we want to check in and have the opportunity for questions and answers at that stage to give you confidence and to explain the next stage, which is going to be the castor oil. And we want to check in again with a Zoom on the Sunday after the purge, just to be sure everybody is now comfortable and feeling good again. And so those are our Zooms along with the WhatsApp.
Yeah.
To give
and then there will be 3 Zoom calls. I think we didn't cover that.
Yeah, no, Dr. Brennan just covered it there. Good point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, because there was a question. Will there be webinars during the detox?
Yeah,
oh, yes. Before.
You were reading the question while Dr. Brennan was asking.
Okay.
No, we will have those Zoom calls for people, you know. Sandrine is asking you if you're going to Jersey, Don. I take it you're probably not in the next few months, but anyway.
No, sorry.
Will there be webinars? We did that. What is the age to do this one? What is the age to do this one? We covered that.
Over the age of 60, we prefer not, Judge.
Yeah, unless you have the permission of an Ayurvedic doctor. I thought most ghees are certified as dairy casein free. They're not dairy free. It's a dairy product. They might be, what's the word I'm looking for? What's taken out of them?
Well, the protein and the certainly the protein is gone. It's absolutely just the pure butter fat. So it's the fat, it's the oil that's left. But that's still a problem for some vegans who, on the basis of feeling that it's inappropriate to take from animals, they don't take it.
Okay, so so Anita says, thanks for all the information. The support we received in spring from the doctors was amazing. I feel safe with you. So thanks for that, Anita. We don't want to do this without giving people support. So that's what we'll be doing that, you know. I use butter without lactose for ghee. So if you have lactose intolerance, there it is okay. Yeah, so I think the lactose is taken out in the ghee anyway. So sounds like a really good detox. It is a very, very powerful detox. The water's gone. Not too sure what that is.
From the butter to make ghee.
Okay, Jen says the payment with credit card is not going through. Jen, there's amazing problems at the moment with payments. I went to pay with my cards today and it wouldn't take it. There's this 3DS security thing going on with the banks at the moment. So what I will do, and it's rejecting maybe every second payment at the moment. So I've been ringing people all day long that have been booking in. So Jen, can you just, I'll see that on the system and I'll give you a ring and I'll hold the place.
Three people are finding the problem.
Yeah, okay. Listen, I'll take a look at the bookings that have come in and I'll ring the people back, and it works over the phone, but for some reason it doesn't work through the website. And it's just something that's going on with 3D security at the moment. But don't worry, I'll get back to you. I'll see that in my emails that the payments failed. If I don't get back to you in the morning, just drop me an email. But
no, there was a number of questions about how to organize a consultation.
Yeah, ayurveda.ie, as I said. Just go to ayurveda.ie. Dr. Brennan and Dr. Naheed can be booked online. You don't have to ring me for that. There's no need to ring me in relation to any bookings. Just go to the booking section, pick what it is you're looking for. The diaries open up, pick the time that you want it for. Obviously, if it's for this detox, you have to do it pretty soon. I'm not sure if you've got much availability there, Don. Maybe you could stick up some available. Of course, you're going away tomorrow, aren't you? Well, then Dr. Rajvinder, Dr. Brennan's going on his holidays. So Dr. Rajvinder's number is there as well. So you can organize a consultation with...
email me or text me.
Yeah, someone says the 3DS sends a text to your phone. Yeah, that's what's supposed to happen, but it's not always happening at the moment. book through the site. Okay, that's Michael McCarthy. Yeah, I saw your booking, Michael.
Regina's asking about if she can't do it, can she do it under the supervision alone with a doctor with consultation? That's a possibility, though you don't get the group support and you don't get the home pack. And so if you can do it with the group, it's best. But if you can't manage, then you could talk to Rajinder and myself.
You can talk to a
Yeah.
doctor about it, yeah.
Or we might be doing in October. I think you can do
Yeah,
October.
do the October one. We prefer
Yeah.
people to come in on the groups, and that's a better way of doing it, you know. So wonderful info from Regina.
And dosha and cancer of the breast, Gemini, that's an interesting question. Always with Ayurveda, you have to analyze the situation, the person, the nature of the disease. And the nature of the disease, cancer is going to be all three doshas. Often kapha predominates, but it could be that also pitta predominates, or kapha or vata. You know, so you need to analyze significant illnesses in consultation without giving blanket statements. But generally, I would say kapha, because often cancer of the breast tends to be kapha imbalance mostly, in my experience.
Abigail Rhodes said, no, what do you need us to include on the email? Your name, your address, if you're over 60, which doctor has approved you for the course. Okay, so your name, address, and if you're over the age of 60, which doctor has approved you for the course. Be sure to send your air code or your postcode if you're in the UK, or if you're abroad in another country, as much correct detail as possible about your address, because obviously we need to get the packs sent out, and we want them sent out sooner rather than later, because we were a bit rushed on the last detox course, so we want to get them out soon, you know. I can't seem to pay with my credit card. Can you hold the place? Just couldn't see who the name of that was, but I will hold. Oh God, I still can't see the name. Yeah, I'll see the rejected payments, and then I can give people a ring. I'll do that after this, you know. Does everyone have to send you their address, Noel? And only if you're doing the course. Let's see, maybe there's something more to that. God, it's very hard to see. Does everyone have to send you their address, Noel? Yes, if you're doing the course, if you've signed up for the course, I may have your address already, but I don't want to have to go looking for it. So just drop me an email, noel@ayurveda.ie, with your full address and your postal code. Is the special ghee much more effective for thinning bones than plain ghee?
It will be. It will be.
I presume you mean plain ghee. Yeah. Thanks all. Brendan Murphy. Okay, Breda, I'll see that, and I'll if I haven't got back to anybody about the book, and just drop me an email. Just lots of thanks to you now. So that seems to be fewer questions and more. Hi everyone, nice to be back. Hope the sun is smiling down on everyone. Can't hear you, no sound. Not sure what that is, Sharon. Maybe your speakers are, and you can't hear me saying that, so it doesn't make any difference. Namaste, Noel, doctors and everyone. Nice to be together again. Chandrika, namaste. Okay, I think we've got through a lot of the questions, have we?
Yes, yeah, looks like it.
I think we've answered all the questions.
There was a question. Do you have? I might say that as well. Abigail was saying, when they're taking the ghee, they will be cooking with the ghee as well? Yes, you'll be cooking with the ghee as well. So which is small amount of ghee. But if you don't want to cook, there is an option is given in the notes as well. So that will be unrefined, cold pressed organic sunflower oil if you can hold on to. So once you sign for it, I see you get the notes. You can start shopping. Everything is given what you need to shop and all that. So read your notes.
Oh yeah, everybody read the notes and listen to the things. Like we get so many questions that have already been answered, you know. So just please read the notes very carefully. And when we send the shopping notes, nobody buy anything yet, because what I'll do is I'll give a voucher to everybody who does the detox course to give them a discount off the Rasayanas and the products that you need to buy. But you get in the package, you get the ghee, you get the Abhipatika churna, you get the castor oil, you get the triphala, and you get the tea. And anything else then, like the food for cooking and all that, or Rajas Cup or the MA1 or any of the Rasayanas, they're not included in your pack, you know. But I will give a discount code to people. Jonathan Bell asks an interesting question. Could I start maybe on the 29th September, 1st of October with the 24th course? I
think maybe for him, no, because he points out he's had a lot of experience with previous Panchakarmas. We would recommend that he comes into all the informations, you know, attends the Zoom calls, even if he's not going to start on the same day, but starting 5 days, 4 days later.
Okay, okay.
But
I was going to say no, Don, but I'm glad you overruled me there, because you did point out he has done Panchakarma before. I would not advise it for people who have not done a detox before. I just don't think it's a good thing to just go do. It's better to have the support of the group and everything like that. But Jonathan, in your case, you've been to India, you've done Panchakarma, you know what it's about. You won't have the same, you know, we'll probably give you, you can have access to one of the doctors through a WhatsApp group, you know, if you have any questions. But obviously, and then as Dr. Brennan says, come on the Zoom calls, even though they'll be too early for what you're doing, but they'll still cover a lot of the questions. So I think that's feasible. That's feasible in your case. But in general, I wouldn't be advising it for people. I think it's better to do it in the group. There is a support element that comes with the group, even though you're in different houses and different rooms, there's still a nice support element. I think anybody that did the spring one, anyone that did the spring one will know about that, you know.
Jennifer's raising an interesting question. Can you see the period? You can't do 2 detoxes. A period is a detox, the castor oil is a detox. And I would say if your period started during taking the ghee, you would then postpone, you would stop the ghee. And after the period's finished, you could continue where you left off and then do the rest of the ghee and the castor oil. I would organize it somewhere like that. But if you know you're going to come on during that time, better not to schedule in the first place.
You can stop it and you take the ghee, stop the ghee, and some people have done that like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, your advice is fine. Yeah, I think either you wait.
Anne-Marie Burns says, are the consultations online or in person? Dr. Brennan is online. Dr. Naheed is online. I think Dr. Rajvinder is seeing some people in person in Lucan. So that's where Dr. Rajvinder works from. So we have a new doctor starting with us as well, but there's no point in including her on that yet. But as I say, Dr. Brennan and Dr. Naheed's in India, and Dr. Brennan's away for the next week, so we won't be doing any consultations. So Dr. Rajvinder at the moment is possibly your best bet. That's fair enough to say, Don, is it?
Very good. Abigail makes a very interesting point. She's saying you can't work on day 9 or leave the house at all. Well, I've had 1 or 2 ladies in the past who found that nothing was happening by 11 in the morning and they were off shopping. And we're definitely advising against that, because when you got to go, you got to go. And so you stay at home and you rest. So you don't go to work. If necessary, Abigail, you have to work on Saturday, but you could postpone and do it on Sunday instead, and do another oil massage and hot bath on Saturday night. You could do that, but you don't go to work.
No,
Your vata will go out.
You have a very exciting time, I can assure you.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic, everybody. I think we're getting to the end here. It's great seeing everybody again. I think whether you do the detox or not, you've probably got a lot of information. Certainly Dr. Brennan's initial talk there covered an awful lot of information about the dhatus and the tissues and the shrotas and the agnis. And for those of you who go on to study Ayurveda, those words will become very, very familiar. We will be, as some of you know, I'm doing a postgraduate course in Ayurveda at the moment from the Alma Mater University in Slovenia, which is a really, really brilliant course. And they will actually be running that again next year. So there's 3 Irish people on that. Maybe some of them are on the call here. I'm not too sure. And what we'll do is we'll organize a little webinar around that later on in the year. We'll organize a webinar, and then anybody that's interested in doing that Ayurveda course, at least you'll know something about it, you know. And the other thing we're doing is on the 14th of September, we're going to have a live Q&A with our doctors. So we're not going to be running the courses that we ran last year that we repeated over and over again, because now they're available online. Those 7 lectures are available online for people to look at anytime they want. And if we can get still 1,000 people a month signing up to look at them, then there's no point in me bringing the doctors on, 2 nights a week just to repeat the same thing over and over again. What'll be much more useful is if people look at the videos in their own time and then come on the live Q&A, because when we do the live Q&A on the 14th of September, we're going to have an hour and a half just to answer questions, to go through things and answer questions, as opposed to 20 minutes at the end of the video. So please promote that that 7-lesson course to your friends. Let them know about it. I'll send the link to it again tomorrow when I'm sending out the link to watch this again on YouTube, and just pass it on to your friends. Get them to do that. They can look at it on their phone. It's a really, really interesting course. I think most of you have done it. And then the Q&A on the 14th of September is going to be open to everybody. So again, I'll send out a registration link for that Q&A, because with Zoom, we just have to have a little security. We need to know, we don't just send out a Zoom link to anybody. We need to know who's coming on, because I'm sure you're all aware of, you know, the incidences of, you know, people taking over meetings and stuff like that. So we don't want any of that sort of stuff happening. So we like people to register so we know who's on the call. And so I'll send a link out to that Q&A for the 14th. And then you can share that Q&A with any of your friends that you think may be interested in coming along, and you can get your questions ready in the meantime as well, you know. So that's fantastic. So it just remains for me to say a big thank you to Dr. Brennan, and a big thank you to Dr. Rajivinder for coming along. The people who tried to book and the payments failed, what time is it now? I mightn't get to you tonight, but I'll get to you first thing in the morning. I'll give you a ring, and I will hold those spaces for you. And the people who have done this, who are already booked and want to go ahead, send me name, address, and if you're over 60, your Ayurvedic doctor's permission, just drop them in an email now, just confirmation that you can do it. And if the people who've decided, no, it's not really for me, just drop me an email and I'll refund your money to your account tomorrow.
And the next webinar will be 24th, right, for people doing detox?
The next webinar is the Zoom call, you mean, Rajivinder?
Zoom call, yeah, sorry.
And
Yeah.
the
23rd, isn't that?
Thursday night. Just
Thursday.
23rd.
Yeah, but you needn't worry about that. You'll be all getting, I'll be sending, you know, the people who are on the thing, they'll get all the details about that, you know.
Usually an hour and a half. Is someone from the USA is asking. 2:30 to 4 sounds good.
Now, to be honest, I don't think anyone in the USA is going to have their herbals on time. The postal system to the United States, even to mainland Europe, is still terrible with COVID. It still just takes forever for stuff to get through. So I wouldn't be very confident of getting the product through to America. So I'd be fair, if you're going to do it, book the 15th of October one, and we can get the product out to you, possibly get it there for then. What I will say to people who are, the UK and Ireland is no problem. We use the Royal Mail. We'll have it in a day or two. For people further afield, you know, once we post it, there's nothing I can do. It's out of our control, and it is, you know, things are can take a long time. And if it doesn't get through to you on time, then we'll just refund you for the course, or you can use it for the next course or whatever, you know. But you know, just be aware of the fact that there still are big problems with the postal system out of Ireland. It's a mixture of Brexit and COVID that is delaying things. But certainly Ireland and the UK is not a problem, you know.
Well, so let us thank you for organizing all of this. It's been a feat of organizational skill as usual, and getting all the packs together, Rajivinder and Noel sending them out. Fantastic work. And I just like to thank everybody for being with us again. It's lovely to see so many of you, old friends at this stage, and maintaining an interest, and just like to continue to encourage to take care of yourselves and to be well informed about the knowledge of life and how to get the best out of this incredible nature of yours. So
thanks, Don, and we will be organizing more webinars through the autumn season. We're definitely going to be doing one on diabetes with our new doctor, Dr. Chitelli, and we will organize some other webinars as well. And hopefully we'll be back doing yoga and cookery courses and all those things, you know. Okay, it was a bit late. Is this webinar? Yeah, we're going to send it out. Don't worry about it. We'll send it out to everybody. So namaste, everybody. Time to get ready for bed and wind down. And okay, everybody, thanks a million. Any questions, send them to me, noel@ayurveda.ie. Noel@ayurveda.ie. Okay, everybody. Bye-bye. Take care.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.